It's back.
No.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
I'm back.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the wild, wild, wild ride that is the Sony Film Company Brain Trust.
Yes, the same gents who gave us the amazing Spider-Man movies now have decided to give us a Venom solo movie. Hey, Shiroi, remember that rushed villain from Spider-Man 3 that showed up only in the last 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Well, now he has his own movie.
Which a lot of people are arguing is in some ways worse than what he got in Spider-Man 3, because this
I thought it was more entertaining.
That's the thing, Dwibs. Yes, it's entertaining, but this movie overall is a stinker. Yet, I will admit it's a stinker that made enough money to get a sequel, and is having its main actor, Tom Hardy, return despite him bad-mouthing the movie literally like a week or two in advance to its release.
Yes.
Like, this...
Apparently, everybody, there's a total of 40 minutes of footage that Tom Hardy hated it being cut, apparently, because it made the whole movie a lot more cohesive. Apparently, the company in post-production destroyed the original vision by cutting 40 minutes of it.
And it shows.
And trust me, when you watch this movie, it shows, because the plot feels rushed as fuck.
All right,
This
so
movie's
movie was
already
directed...
2 hours, though.
All right, so this movie was directed by Ruben Fleischer, who previously had success with Zombieland and Gangster Squad, but I haven't seen that movie. And it was written by 3 people. Jeff Pinkner, returning from Amazing Spider-Man 2. Scott Rosenberg and Kelly Marcel.
What are they returning from?
On that front, I'm not entirely sure. But
while you look for that, I'll say, basically, everybody, you know,
I've gone in 60 seconds, one of them wrote.
How nice. Go on, Pedro.
You know Avi Arad, aka the complete hack that somehow thinks he can produce good things at either Marvel related or not. Well, the Venom movie has always been his big passion project. You can say that.
It's actually part of the reason why Spider-Man 3 turned out the way it did, because he forced Sam Raimi to force in the Venom subplot.
So yeah, finally, the movie that he has been fighting to bring to the big screen is upon us. Was it worth it, Mr. Arad? Was it?
Apparently, it made enough money, bafflingly. That's the thing. Everyone, and I do mean everyone, was expecting this movie to be a failure. Maybe it was going to be entertaining enough, but nobody was expecting it would be successful enough to get a sequel, yet it did. Granted, I can chalk it up to a lot of things, like, a lot of fascination here, and word of mouth did help spread that. A lot of people did go about going like, oh my god, this movie is so bad it's enjoyable, you have to see it to believe it. There were a lot of factors that went into its success, but like I said before, I am not that confident that the sequel is going to be a guaranteed success. Now I'll go more into that when we actually start the movie. So, audience, in terms of where we'll start this one, for this movie, because we're looking at both the Blu-ray and Netflix version between the 4 of us, we will be starting at the In Association with Marvel Pictures logo. Yeah, it's as clustered as you think a title can be with that.
Well, technically it just says Marvel. Marvel Pictures is not a thing. It's Marvel Studios that you're thinking. But yeah.
Marvel Pictures, Marvel Studios, okay. But, start before the In Association with Marvel Studios bit. Okay. 3, 2, 1, click. As you recall, me, Pedro, and Tio looked at this movie a while ago. We figured it's been long enough to finally take a look at this once again, this time with Dwibs and Shiroi in tow.
It's interesting how the same company can release this and Into the Spider-Verse within like 2 months of each other.
Basically, Shiroi and Dwibs. Teo actually really, really didn't like this movie at all. Even ironically, like he really didn't like this movie, period. So basically, we decided to just leave him out of this, so he doesn't have to put up with this again.
I mean, I don't blame him because, okay, as a comic book fan, this movie is very frustrating. Like, yes, it was technically a success, but not for actually being a good movie. And, like Pedro mentioned, it didn't do justice to the character of Venom.
How many of us saw this film in the cinema?
I didn't.
I did.
I did. Me and my brother kind of have a tradition between all of us that we always go to see every
wow,
Spider-Man
that
movie
CGI looks
in theaters
cartoony.
together. So we were going to see it regardless anyway. And yeah, we start with the symbiote coming to Earth. So there you go. Yeah, this is, basically, Shiroi, we're going to take the Venom or origin story, except now, this time, we're going to turn him into more of an anti-hero rather than a villain.
Now, to be fair, Venom
It's
does eventually become an anti-hero in the comics. That said, that was after years of him being, a villain. Yeah.
So now we're in East Malaysia.
Well, you know how it is, Jova. This is the new trend right now. Take an iconic villain and make him more of an anti-hero. Or
To be fair to this movie, it's not as badly handled as, say, Maleficent. At least Venom in this movie still kind of acts a bit more like himself compared to whatever the hell.
True. Yeah,
True.
true. Oh,
but it is a worrying trend.
Yeah. Oh, you know how bad it is? Originally, in the Amazing Spider-Man universe, when the Sinister Six movie was a thing, the word was that the Sinister Six movie was going to be a redemption story about a team called the Sinister Six, who literally formed to kill Spider-Man. Oh, and yes, Shiroi, the rumors and stories you heard about how confusing as all fudge this movie is in regards to the MCU are true. It's been...
It keeps going back and forth. I think right now they're on this isn't it the MCU thing?
Oh, God, and the trailers for Venom... the Morbius movie have not helped either, seeing as how they have stuff that blatantly references the ending of Spider-Man Far From Home. Oh, hey, Jameson. Did you notice something, Pedro?
I'm seeing right here. Basically, everybody, Venom was created by Todd McFarlane.
Oh, nice.
Well, he's an iconic, great Spider-Man villain. So it's not that surprising, Joe.
So we immediately start with the symbiote possessing Jameson. Yes, that is John Jameson, the astronaut. Jameson's son, the astronaut.
He's played by a guy named Chris O'Hara. Not that it matters, because he's not in this movie a whole lot.
That being said, the actual writers of Amazing Spider-Man 300, which is where how about this? It was in Amazing Spider-Man 252 that the alien costume arc started, so probably you could just go for that.
I guess if we're being very technical, the alien symbiote stuff started during Secret Wars, where he got the costume, but fair enough, let's go with that regarding Spider-Man.
Okay, and for an interesting change of pace, this movie does not take place in New York, but San Francisco.
I stick to it probably being the main reason is that, jump scare! For some reason.
Somehow it's not that scary, come on.
Yeah, I don't get what was even the point of that jump scare. Anyway, this is Eddie Brock with his fiancée.
And he's played by Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy...
Okay, how would you compare...
Okay, Shiroi, I want you to pay attention to Tom Hardy's performance in this movie. I swear to you, it's like he doesn't even want to be here because he constantly he sounds weird. Just pay attention.
It's funny, Pedro, because going out the interviews, he didn't want to be in the movie after they cut out all that footage of his...
Yeah, but that was after they filmed this, though. So, how would you guys compare Tom Hardy's performance to Topher Grace's in Spider-Man 3?
I prefer Tom Hardy. Well, the thing is about Topher Grace is that Topher Grace was horribly miscast as Eddie Brock. because he doesn't even fit the role like at all.
I'll also
Whereas
say
Tom
this.
Hardy is much more believable in the role, I would argue.
I'll say this. Topher Grace has kind of the disadvantage that as Venom, he had way less screen time to really judge properly by. Now, I guess, though, if I am to be fair, the Venom in Spider-Man 3 was more in character than the Venom in this movie. Again, partly because they sort of rushed his character development into him being anti-hero. But I digress. So Eddie Brock here is a famous TV
Dwibs,
reporter.
the Yang Lee thing, your favorite.
Oh boy. Well, I mean, at least they aren't doing weird freeze frames after they get blown up.
So he runs
You
this...
see,
Plus, I
look
mean,
at-
in this
look
case,
at
it
that- look
kind of
at
makes
that,
sense.
Shiroi. It's like the comic panels have come to life. Right
Okay,
before
to be
your
fair,
eyes.
to be fair, in this case, it's the intro to a TV show, so...
Mm-hmm.
How quirky.
Oh, that Eddie, never following the rules.
Yeah, he parks his bike where he's not supposed to. Hey guys, do you know what else I heard him do?
What?
What?
He once ate fast food in his office.
Scandalous. Anyway,
Next
here's another bit of interesting casting. This guy who plays Eddie's boss here is actually technically in the MCU. He's in the
Well,
Luke Cage show.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of by this point, there's a lot of actors who have.
There's a
been
lot of There's a
all-
lot of crossover. I mean, I remember Joe, one of the bad guys of Guardians of the Galaxy is also in Shazam.
Heck, to be fair, several actors in the MCU have played several different characters. Clancy Brown plays one of the antagonists in Daredevil Season 2, while also playing giant fire demon god guy in Thor Ragnarok. And then, the same woman who plays Miranda Sharp in Civil War also plays the major antagonist of Luke Cage Season 2.
Also, apparently Michelle Williams couldn't find any other work, so...
Oh boy, I'll just say this, her role in this movie is kind of a big letdown regarding what happens near the climax.
Yeah, for some reason, it says here. Oh, here you go, Jovan says right here. McFarlane drew the first full appearance of Eddie Brock, the original incarnation of the villain Venom. He has been credited as the character's co-creator, though this has been a topic of dispute within the comic book industry. So basically, Jova, apparently there's some conflicting information about who's the actual person to credit for creating the idea, for coming up with the idea of Venom and the alien suit.
But yeah, long story short, folks, Venom is arguably one of the big free Spider-Man villains. He's one of the Spider-Man villains who you probably have heard of even if you aren't a comic book fan. Him, Dr. Octopus, and Green Goblin, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
His appearance was a very dramatic one. It was an interesting thing seeing essentially a more powerful version of Spider-Man who could block out his spider sense and whatnot. And it really showed how he had a twisted mental sense in thinking that he was in the right, when in reality he was really a bloodthirsty monster. Oh, hey, sex scene. Which we skipped.
We can't have sex, this is a PG-13 movie.
Which was originally rated R.
Basically, Shiroi, it was one of the big things apparently is that the reason they cut so much from the movie is because they wanted to downgrade the rating from R to
Yeah, I
PG-13.
know about that.
Oh, you heard
Aw.
about?
Well,
this-
yeah, I mean, it was pretty hard to avoid.
Just-
Everyone knew about this.
Oh, I wasn't aware that this made big news or something.
Oh, everyone was talking about it. Okay, so here's where Eddie does something pretty stupid.
Oh, look,
Also,
Shiroi,
a
he's
cat.
using-
Look,
Shiroi.
there's a cat.
Look, Shiroi, he's using an Apple computer. Do you have some advice for our friend here about how to use that well?
Why isn't he using a Sony Vaio laptop?
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Why isn't he using a Sony Vaio?
Like, Apple are literally a competitor with Sony. What the heck?
Well, look at this with this. Maybe there were a lot of complaints about the product placement in Amazing Spider-Man 2, so Sony decided to, okay, fine, we'll have an Apple technology in here then. There we go, see?
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, our villain.
You see
Yeah,
this?
the villain. He's okay. Sorry, go on, Pedro.
You see this? We have Apple technology instead of Sony technology. Are you happy now?
Yeah. So anyway, this guy is Carlton Drake, played by British actor / rapper Riz Ahmed.
I'll just say this. It seems like he went to the live-action Jafar school of villainy, i.e., look as not intimidating as possible, thinking that you'll leave an impact, when in reality you won't really leave that much of an impact. Like, holy cow, the first time I saw this movie, I mistook him for the coffee boy or something, not like the supposed big bad villain of this.
It's interesting as well because one of his previous film appearances was as one of the characters off Rogue One, the guy named Bodhi, whose only character trait was he's a pilot, because he said he's a pilot like 50 times.
Okay, so wait until you see what Eddie's also brilliant plan is with going behind his fiance's back regarding this.
Indeed. Okay. So yeah, everybody, like Jova said, Secret Wars was also involved when it comes to Venom's origin. Let me just go through the basic gist of it. Writer and artist John Byrne said on his own that he conceived the costume of self-healing biological material, and then it was Roger Stern that later asked him if he could use that idea to create the symbionte. And then Tom DeFalco and artist Ron Frenz, who established that costume was a sentient. And then later, Todd McFarlane also came up with the Venom thing during the events of the miniseries Secret Wars, like Joe mentioned before. So there you go. See, basically, everybody, the creation of the Venom character is kind of a mess. There's a lot of people that were involved. You can't. It's hard to attribute it to just one person, like most of the Marvel characters.
Okay, so Mr. Brock's also brilliant plan was to walk up to the leader of a huge giant mega corporation and just go, "Oh, by the way, I'm going to try and ambush you during my interview here and ask you about allegations." And what a shock! That ends up with repercussions.
And by the way, I'm totally not the villain, so please don't think that.
That's the thing, honestly.
He just he decides to go off script, and well, what do you think is going to happen?
See, even he's saying it. I'm telling you, he's all the way bad. See, look at Tom Hardy, by the way.
You idiot! You're a reporter! You're supposed to have a source, otherwise you can get sued! Every
time I look at Tom Hardy's face in this movie, it just screams, why did I say yes to this script? Why?
Honestly, Jova, considering how journalism is, especially these days, I'm inclined to believe that he is perfectly valid as a journalist.
That's a sad thing, though, Shiroi. He's going to get properly punished for it.
Is this the catchphrase
Oh, so this is totally unrealistic.
Okay, is this the catchphrase of all the arseholes in this movie? Have a nice life.
Well, it could be worse. They could say have a bad life.
So, what a shock. What he did got her fired, going behind her back at the company, and she's rightfully pissed and calls off the marriage. What a shock.
Gee.
Annie, no, stop. Dylan, I love you.
Stop, don't come back.
Oh, well, I tried.
Well, that happened.
Have a nice life.
But yes.
Oh, interesting.
The conspicuousness of these cars really seems to suggest something suspicious.
Nah, you think? Come on, Joe.
No. Are you telling me the obviously evil boss of an obviously evil pharmaceutical company is evil?
Dwibs. I'm surprised at you. Just because he's a British guy dealing with alien goo that possesses people and turns them into monsters, you automatically assume he's evil.
Well, Riz Ahmed's character is American.
Huh.
Anyway, from what I'm seeing here, Jova, I wasn't even aware of this. Interesting. It seems, Jova, that Venom is kind of has something big in common with Batman. He's
Oh.
in a sense that Tom McFarlane is the one that usually gets the credit for the creation, even though there were other people involved. Much like how Bob Kane keeps getting credit for creating Batman, even though Bill Finger was the one that actually came up with most of the actual concepts and the overall identity of what makes Batman Batman.
Interesting.
So apparently, yeah, Venom is kind of Venom, Marvel's Batman of sorts.
It makes sense. Like, oh god, especially
I am evil. Look at how I eat my food.
and slash you. Wow. Imagine taking this so seriously.
Okay. If there's one thing I respect about this movie in a bizarre sort of way, is how it gives no fucks in how it presents itself.
Pretty
No.
much. That is one of the main reasons why people do get enjoyment out of it. It's like the equivalent of a king and queen pulling down their pants and presenting it to all their royal subjects for quite a show.
Oh boy!
I'm being proud of it.
Yes.
Don't kill the old lady symbiont, please. Oh.
Why she
No,
wanted to possess that other lady is beyond me.
Wouldn't be much.
So,
better to just
6
keep
months
the-
later.
Yeah, now we skip to 6 months later.
Oh,
Yeah, 'cause
God.
I'm sure nothing exciting happened in 6 months with a symbiote.
Not only that, Dwibs, the implications are that, that symbiote that we just saw, it has plans, but apparently it takes 6 months for it to employ its plans.
Yeah, well, don't worry, Joe. But I have seen the movie, and yeah, okay, that's one problem with this movie. The plot is all over the place. In fact, everything's all over the place because it is most likely it has something to do with the cut footage.
Oh yeah, the 6 months later thing, most likely that was added in post-production to make up for the cut footage, most likely.
So, they're Shiroi, they're testing the symbiotes on a cute bunny rabbit.
So make sure that Alice doesn't see this movie, because
Yeah. Especially since it's a white rabbit.
Oh, it's okay. The bunny will remember this.
Yes, I mean, who
Oh
cares
come
if...
on! Where is your desire to play God? What kind of scientist are you?
I mean,
Yeah, it's like, isn't that your whole, thing? You
I-
play God. Like,
I guess he didn't expect his lead scientist to
Well-
have ethical questions.
Well, to be fair, Shiroi, usually that's for the mad scientist. This woman is a scientist, but she's not mad.
Okay.
So yeah,
Get ready.
already Brock is down on his luck. He's in a bar.
He has been unemployed for 6 months, and he's living in a city as expensive as San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't have a new job.
Yeah, it's like what Pedro said off commentary. This movie it's like if a movie from 1993 ended up in 2018.
Yeah, basically. Okay, let me put it that this Shiroi. This woman, this scientist, she's not a Dr. Cortex. She's more of a Varian. Basically.
How nice.
How does he still have money even though he's been unemployed for 6 months?
Again, San
Is
Francisco...
he living off state benefits or something?
probably.
San Francisco...
Although-
For 6 months?
Do journalists, make a... I don't know how much money journalists make.
Sure, that's the thing. He's not a journalist. He's been unemployed for 6 months.
Yeah, but that's the thing. How much money did he have before being unemployed? Like, how much money did he have backed up?
Maybe enough to live on it, but last I checked, journalists don't exactly make the big bucks. Unless they're, very, 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 very
I don't know
famous
what
and-
U.S. state money is like
Java-
benefit state money is like. So
Java, is the unemployment check period really that forgiving in the good old US of A?
Okay. Maybe during now with the current pandemic going on, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
but
From what
this-
I've been reading, it's been quite stingy over there. So.
Yeah, but this was 2 years before the pandemic, so it doesn't count.
yeah, last I checked, no, it is not. It is not this forgiving. And again, especially not in a city like San Francisco. It's
Yeah, like if he lived
Yeah.
somewhere else, like maybe, but like he probably shouldn't afford to live here, even on a welfare check. Because do people get those monthly in the US? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, okay, just to think about the director of this movie, when he was talking about him handing over the reins of the sequel to Andy Serkis of all people, he said that he was happy to do so because he felt that reviews of his first movie had unfairly treated what he called a crowd-pleasing film, and because he thought people were biased against Sony and towards Marvel Studios.
well, gee, maybe if Sony
Yeah,
were a
so
better film
basically-
company.
So Sony has become
Although, to be fair, it was Fleischer there was a director that said that, not Sony.
No, I get that. Okay, so the director became basically he adopted the DC fanboy in 2016 approach. Claiming that the only reason people hate Batman v Superman is because they're biased towards Marvel and they don't like DC. No, has it ever come across to you, Mr. Fleischer, that maybe the reason people gave this movie bad reviews is because it's a bad movie? Does that thought ever come across your mind at all?
It's baffling. I don't know.
And now, on today's show of people who have way bigger apartments than they actually should.
I mean,
Okay, I get saving money for a rainy day, but that's the thing. It's a rainy day, not a rainy 6 months.
This is like
Yeah.
Friends level. Well, okay. Maybe not as bad as with Friends. Well,
Okay, now you got me imagining the
hold on.
Friends
Overdue
intro
notice.
by the time
So-
it's Venom doing the
oh,
dance.
that's
go.
the
See,
thing. He has overdue notices, Troy, so no, he's not really.
He is actually struggling, huh?
but how did he, survive this long?
It really is a good question. Shame the
Okay,
movie.
okay. Maybe you can make an argument that throughout these 6 months he's had various little jobs here and there, but the movie didn't really establish. Again, maybe it's part of the deleted footage. You see what I mean, Shiroi? When you watch this movie and you know in advance that there was footage cut out of it, 40 minutes, you can so tell when you watch it that there's
Yeah.
deleted footage. You can so tell.
Probably.
Okay, to be fair, deleted footage in a movie is common because sometimes there's a scene that disrupts the flow, so you cut it from the movie. But usually it's just like a few scenes here and there, not 40 minutes.
What the heck
Oh,
was
so
that
the usual
face?
musician
Again,
neighbor
90s
thing.
movie. The
They-
electric guitar keeping him up
yes,
from
Shiroi.
sleep.
Yes, Shiroi. You thought that cliche died? Surprise, it didn't.
Hey, sure.
I haven't seen it in a while, so.
Hey, sure.
To be fair, Creed did this too. So
Hey, sure.
I guess I shouldn't
Remember
complain too much.
Remember Catwoman 2004, which showed our heroine is so meek and quiet before when she became a superhero, she would suddenly become that? Yeah, we're bringing
Okay,
that
here,
back.
okay, to be fair, it's not like that. Here, Eddie Brock is a well-meaning guy, but how he comes across sometimes and how he tries to address his points can come off as a bit douchey.
It's like Shiroi said, for some reason there's this paranoia of we can't have our villains be assholes. Apparently, for some reason, we have to make them super sympathetic, and they're actually just nice guys that are misunderstood.
Also,
Plus,
this
to
guy
be-
is clearly dodgy.
Plus, to be fair, from the
Shiroi, what makes you think that? You're so
plus
judgmental.
also, yeah, I love how the movie had to spell out the biblical symbolism.
Yeah.
But anyway, at least, but anyway, okay. To be fair to, if we're comparing not very good Sony Spider-Man movies,
Yes.
at least, even some reviews pointed this out. Unlike Amazing Spider-Man 2, that tried to set up a shared universe and not doing a very good job of it at that,
Uh-huh.
this movie is at least self-contained. Or
Yeah.
the most it does in setting up, the most it does in terms of setup is a scene at the end which sets up a sequel.
Relatively speaking, because apparently this movie will share the same universe with the Morbius movie.
Also,
Yeah.
Pedro, this isn't Miracle Mask where I was being judgmental. This guy is clearly evil.
But
Wow.
Shiroi, for all you know, just like he's making you think he's shady just so he can fool you.
I don't believe they're that clever.
Pedro, he's the head of an unethical pharmaceutical company in a movie.
Sorry, dude, we just told you about the Bible and, how you pretty much are the same name as someone who's supposed to be a sacrifice, so with any luck, you'll be fine.
So yeah, they're gonna try and bond the symbiote with this guy.
Huh, well, look at that. It may have actually worked.
Yeah, but we
Wait
can't just
for
after
it.
just a few seconds. We're gonna have to wait. Yep.
He
Oh.
doesn't like you very much.
I can just
No,
imagine
okay.
how they
That's
directed him for this scene.
Dude, you're really bad at doing this whole hair guitar thing.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's doing the air guitar.
Oh, it would be more fun if he was.
Did you notice the female scientist's face? Oh my god. I'm starting to think that we're kind of shady in what we're doing with our
But she's still
research.
doing that face. It's like, no shit, lady.
So yeah, he's dead. What a surprise!
Bring in the next volunteer.
Let me guess, she's gonna betray them or something because they
He's
keep
just
putting
like,
focus
okay,
on her.
Okay, he's like,
I-
okay, well that failed. Next.
Okay,
Yeah, like he's so cartoonishly evil.
okay.
I know. Oh, I thought we were being judgmental here.
Hey! I'm just going off your judgment.
Okay,
I'm
if you say so.
trusting your judgment on this.
Oh,
one.
sweet.
Yeah. Okay. It's another interesting thing. Apparently, the reception to this movie was the reception to this movie was kind of similar to how bad early 2000s superhero movies like Daredevil and Catwoman did in terms of critical reception. Although apparently that was part of the reason why audiences flocked to see this movie in droves.
I guess that is the thing. This movie is
Although
like...
also because of that, a
Oh,
lot of
there you go.
moviegoers saw the movie as just an okay film and jumped to the movie's defense.
Okay. So you gotta love this. So, Shiroi, what is the doctor's also smart plan to try and get these experiments to stop? Does she go to the police? Go to the government? No, instead she goes to a reporter who's been fired and is down on his luck.
Yeah, but even he's like, no, I don't give a shit.
Not even just that, Jova. Okay, if her boss was the Kingpin, I could believe this because the Kingpin has
Yeah, like the Kingpin practically owns all the city in his pocket, or at least the higher, the higher
exactly.
officials.
But this is a guy. This is a random generic company president. As far as we know, he doesn't have the police under.
Yeah,
his...
wait, I go to the wait. Why can't you? Oh, because of my family would be in danger. That's why she can't go to the police.
What do you mean? You are aware that there's such a thing as witness protection practices, right?
I guess she missed the
You
memo
lost your,
on that.
wait. You lost your apartment.
But you still...
The apartment you've got is still pretty swanky, mate, for a guy who's on like $50 a day.
I know, right?
Like you shouldn't be able to afford to live here.
Tom Hardy constantly with this whole I am so sick of this crap, just leave me alone.
There you go.
I did Max Fury Road 3 years ago.
You see what I mean? Like he so sounds like he doesn't want to be here. He's constantly turning to everybody, but just leave me alone, guys. Just don't. Just no.
Oh, hey there, fiance Anne.
Can someone please get Tom Hardy out of this movie? Because the poor man is suffering.
Oh yeah. Okay. To be fair,
Oh.
okay. The one thing I was afraid of that this movie would do is the ex-boyfriend is being a huge douche to the current boyfriend. But to be fair, this movie doesn't do that.
Fortunately.
Don't worry, the movie will be a dick to the current boyfriend without Eddie's help.
Oh yeah, he lives there. Yeah, what she said. Well, I mean, he wasn't being rude about it. I mean, just say, "I'm sorry, that's not something I can talk about right now," or something like that.
Ouch.
Is that true, Shiroi? Cats
that's
don't
true.
like anyone?
I mean, there are some of us who are, privileged to have cats like them. So.
Oh, so cats only like a select, minimal.
Yes.
Like,
There is.
Cats are
There is a-
freaking elitist.
So you have to be a chosen one.
Yes, I am the chosen one on high. No, cats actually like me, even ones that aren't supposed to like people. Apparently, I don't know.
Huh. Neat.
But no,
So
there is a saying though. It's like you don't adopt cats; cats
Well,
adopt
Shiroi-
you. You are
Well,
chosen.
Well,
You do
remember,
not
Shiroi-
choose.
Well, remember, Shiroi, there's an Egyptian cat god, so maybe that Egyptian cat god is the one that decides which human gets given the gift and which ones don't.
I don't know.
Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
And now, folks, watch as Eddie Brock tours the streets, down on his luck, deep and depressed.
One is the loneliest
Loneliest
number that you'll ever do.
do. Yeah.
Of course, the scene where he toddles with the ring while looking forlornly off the bridge and everything.
Hell, the recess movie did that.
Wait. I was looking at a list of memes that this movie inspired. Okay, one I can sort of get. Venom is the best superhero movie of 2003 because of how dated a lot of the tropes are here. But Venom is the best romantic comedy of 2018.
Oh, yeah, that sort of has to do with partly of how it was advertised.
Also, apparently Tom Hardy was ad-libbing a lot of stuff.
Also, in regards to romantic comedy, I think that may have had to do with that movie that was called I Want to Eat Your Pancreas as well.
So yeah, this is our plot now. Like, Eddie changed his mind, and now he's going to take the chance and try to expose the evil corporation to see if he can get back into his ex-girlfriend's good graces.
Oh, and an interesting thing, you know who you can thank for Tom Hardy at least trying to play Eddie Brock in character?
Yeah, who?
His 10-year-old son.
Oh.
Yeah, basically, while Tom Hardy was preparing, his son helped him out, teaching him about the characters.
Cool.
Huh. Well, okay, at least there were some wholesome intentions with this movie, despite Avi Arad's participation. Basically,
Yeah, that's the thing. This was his baby. I mean, and also, you'd think with Avi Arad being such a Venom fanboy, why would he? Yeah, why would the whole 40 minutes of film being cut out thing really help? I'm beginning to think that decision was, funny enough, not one of his.
I'm guessing
Probably.
that Avi Arad probably wanted as much people as possible to see this, so he did what a lot of people do, made it PG-13. Because
Okay, to be fair, he's not the only producer of this movie.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
it's not clear exactly who told what to do this thing where exactly. For all we know, some random Sony executive could have cut bits out.
That said, though, Avi Arad kind of has a track record for mucking up a lot of stuff. You know, Spider-Man the Animated Series.
Wait,
You know,
say
Eddie.
that?
You know, Eddie. Not to sound like not to sound like I'm distracted. I shouldn't, and I'm not focusing on the movie at all. But I don't know. Like, you should try your luck with with the scientist. I mean, she looks cute.
Also,
I would say she looks cuter than your former girlfriend, to be honest.
Also, apparently, you know, at least according to a Deadline article, production apparently was met with a few issues, which I will name now. Apparently, it was rushed to meet the deadline of October 2018.
Shows.
Production apparently shut down at one point.
Shows.
Tom Hardy and Ruben Fleischer got into frequent fights on the set.
Definitely
Oh,
shows.
lovely.
And apparently the editing on this movie was a bit hurried, to say the least.
Shows.
So yeah, this all of that perfectly reflects in Tom Hardy's performance.
Okay, so get this. So this woman apparently knows his name somehow.
Oh, oops.
Yeah, why does that woman know his name? And for the record, we'll never find out the answers to those questions. She just knows because tension, I guess.
Horror
Ah.
shot.
Okay. To be fair, Ruben Fleischer has done horror comedy before, so I'm guessing this is the horror bit he's trying.
Boom, you get a symbiote.
Who?
Maria.
Maria. Okay, so apparently, wow. So this is so now I've seen two Marias in fiction that died tragically, but I don't really give a shit about them. 'Cause I barely know anything about them.
Meanwhile, in the other corridor, Eggman is going like, "Nah, that was all too easy. Let's see what research my grandfather was working on. A top secret military weapon. The military started the research because they feared it. I don't know why I'm explaining this aloud to myself, since I already know this, but I am, so that the audience knows what's going on."
Totally talking to himself. Also interesting. I'm not sure if this is the name Sony gave this attempt at a cinematic universe, but apparently this is called the Sony's universe of Marvel characters,
What the hell?
or Sumik.
Quick, get
Excuse
Bazoon
me.
Buggy. We'll chase
Wait,
after
what?
him.
Apparently,
Okay.
apparently it gives him super strength.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have officially entered into a cartoon. Seriously, that Jeep was literally doing a GTA jump.
I mean, at least I will say I do agree. I'm at least having fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
this
yeah.
movie goes by so fast.
No, it's this thing. Okay. Okay, first off, that Jeep literally jumped high with GTA physics. Second, Eddie Brock literally just tore for a fucking tree trunk with the easiest of thing. I get that he has the symbiote in him, but the symbiote wasn't even possessing him at the time.
Okay. He managed to get back home rather easily. But,
Oh,
anyway,
boy.
you know the
we have to delete the footage of him getting home.
Yeah, okay. Apparently, the whole confusion in regards to whether Spider-Man is part of either this universe or the MCU.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, apparently Spider-Man is going to be in both, and you know who we have to thank for giving that statement?
Disney?
Ooh.
Kevin Feige.
Well,
I guess
well,
Kevin
makes-
Feige.
So either Kevin Feige was promoting something and had to answer it that way to try and keep up appearances, or he was on the same stuff he was taking when he approved Captain Marvel.
Oh
To
my
be fair-
god,
to
look
be
at this.
fair-
He even eats out of the garbage.
Oh my god.
That sums up the movie, I guess.
Is this
To be fair, I can actually see that being a thing, considering it was probably part of the deal with Sony.
Well,
So-
plus we saw Vulture in the trailer for Morbius.
So yeah, no, I can actually see that being a thing, most likely.
Okay, is that in the script, or was Tom Hardy thinking, or was Tom Hardy saying aloud, "What is wrong with me?" and they just left
Oh.
that in the movie?
Oh,
Whoa.
snap.
And also, that's Tom Hardy doing the voice of
Venom, yeah.
Venom in this movie. How bad? They're dead.
I love that diagnosis, Doctor. How bad is it? It's bad. That's it. That's my diagnosis. It's bad. Hell, do you even have any motivation for doing this? I mean, I'm guessing you
I'm evil.
Yeah.
You want to get rich?
Okay,
I mean,
he
you're
wants
already
to-
rich.
I think maybe he just wants to play God.
You know, here's the thing, though. The doctor literally mentioned that she originally thought that they were going to use the symbiontes to cure cancer, which, bit of a tidbit, in the Ultimate Universe, that is what the symbiote suit was originally made for, as an attempt to cure cancer. So, you know, honestly, when you think about it, making something that could cure cancer would actually make you oodles and oodles of money. Do you know how much people would pay for the nose of that? But no,
yes,
he just...
But Jova, is it anything? Is it worth anything when you could compare to being God?
Not just that, but now you get to enjoy Tom Hardy arguing with himself.
Also, hey, remember that symbiote from before? Yep, she's apparently just been faffing around for 6 months, even though...
But it took it. Wait, did it take us 6 months to get a plane ticket from Hong Kong to
And
San
yet,
Francisco?
Apparently...
And yet, Jova, this is still less ridiculous than all those T-800 Terminators apparently bumbling around at random for 10 years until Terminator Dark Fate takes place.
True.
Oh, God.
I'm okay, we'll call you later, be careful. What could possibly go wrong? Oh, lobsters. Oh boy, this scene.
Oh yeah.
Basically, Shiro, apparently having a symbiote in your organism makes you uncontrollably itchy and uncontrollably hungry and thirsty.
Now, on the one hand, this does go into Venom's whole thing of needing to feed, but oh boy, I'll just say this: Tom Hardy goes flipping insane
Yeah,
in
there you go.
this.
Just check this out.
That food is disgusting. Well, yeah.
This is dead.
Oh, did you want to eat it alive?
I mean, I think so.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid...
Hey, I'm trying to eat, okay?
Is this one of the set fights you were talking about?
Probably.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think Tom Hardy may be going off script again.
Is this something he does
Ew.
often?
Let's spit it out. That's rude. Oh boy, here we go. Yeah, imagine this bit of the script. Eddie jumps into a tub of fish,
No,
bathes in it.
A tub of
Is
lobsters.
he just gonna eat all the fish?
Okay, you know, kudos to the boyfriend. He
Take
is...
your patients with you to restaurants.
Yeah, especially fancy restaurants like this. You probably shouldn't do that.
Whoa!
Yeah,
Yeah, imagine, as like I said, imagine this in the script. Eddie Brock bathes in tub of fish and eats lobster.
It's a lobster tank, yeah.
I
But
have
no,
to
okay, I get that people probably dislike this movie because it's probably very disrespectful for the character, but honestly, I find it hilarious.
Exactly.
Oh yeah,
I
this movie is so batshit crazy. It's hard to
find it
get
hilarious
bored.
too, Shiroi. It's one of those things, Shiroi, though, that, you know, the thing is, like, you have to also understand that this is one of the most beloved comic book characters of all time. And
And you did
just...
say earlier he's never had a good on-screen adaptation for live
No.
action.
So fans at this point are just frustrated that nobody seems to be able to get this character right.
That's perfectly valid. Like,
Yeah, okay, I'll put it this way: if the MCU can't do it, then okay. If the MCU try it and can't do it, then there's probably like no hope whatsoever.
That's the thing, Dwibs. Venom is an incredibly, for as much as filmmakers keep getting it wrong, honestly, if you ask me, Venom is one of the easiest villains to get right. The story is.
Well, from what I've heard, the problem with this movie isn't Venom per se; it's everything else.
Well, the
That's
things
the thing,
with Venom
Dwibs.
aren't
All
with
you
each
really
other,
have to
yeah.
do is have him be a rival, an antagonistic rival towards Peter Parker at the Daily Bugle for a while. Then eventually the symbiont arc happens and he becomes Venom, and then he starts taking revenge on Peter for taking his job away from him. That's it. That's literally all you have to do. This isn't rocket science.
Like, again, for all I've said, the main issue with Venom in Spider-Man 3 was that he had so little screen time. If they had, just had Venom in there with extended screen time, Spider-Man 3 would have arguably have had it. This movie, admittedly, part of the issue with this movie is that we don't have Spider-Man in it, which takes away a bit of the impact regarding Venom here.
Yeah, that Java brings up a good point. See, Shiroi, that's another thing. See, one of the big things about Venom is that his origin is entirely tied to Spider-Man, because the symbiote, before attaching itself to Eddie Brock, attached itself to Peter, as you saw in Spider-Man 3. So his origin is entirely linked to Peter Parker. So trying to reinvent the origin story so that he's no longer, a rival of Peter who wants revenge, again, it's just one of those cases where he's almost a completely different character at this point.
I love that. Yeah, during sounds at that high frequency can hurt it. So don't do it that way then.
Oh yeah. That is one thing they kept intact. One of the symbiote's weaknesses is that it cannot take high sounds.
Yes, high sounds. Yeah.
Ooh, you busted.
I'm so. Oh. Okay, we're just gonna ignore that now, aren't we?
Sorry, Dwibs. The rest of that scene was cut. So, you see what I mean? Like, you can.
Yeah, I know, Pedro. I was wondering that when I was in the cinema. Sure.
I think it's like Tom is afraid that the boogeyman is coming to get him.
I know, right? I have no idea what his method acting for this movie was, but man, whatever he was having, I don't know if I dare snuff it either. So yeah, it turns out that her boyfriend figures out that he has a parasite of some sort.
So yeah, look at this, Shiroi. The boyfriend-doctor's diagnostic is that he probably has a parasite. It's funny because it's true.
Ugh.
Oh boy.
Hello.
It's the voice in my head. It won't stop. It's like it's like he's playing this character as if he's half Venom, half Randy Orton.
Oh no, the loud
He
sound.
literally for that earlier looked like he was about to take a shit.
Yeah. Hey, asshole! I'm trying to focus here. God, that guy even looks.
I love this one. I love this one.
The guy even looks similar to. Honestly, Jeff, the guy even looks similar to that one Catwoman who was playing the loud music.
I know, right? Seriously,
Yes,
it's like I said. It's like I said. It feels like this movie is literally taking from movies of that time and put them in a time capsule to bring them back. Anyway, it's the nature of what we do, Skirt, to play God. So what if some people get killed along the way? Is that illegal? Well, actually, sir, yes, it's very illegal.
It is very much illegal.
Well, then, if you can't get with the program, I suppose we can just give you your resignation. Ah, that's cute. He's trying to play to her sentimentality.
So this is what Dora the Explorer grew up to.
Yes, I totally promise that we will do things differently if you trust me.
Yeah, come on. We're in the year 2018. We have to be more transparent with this stuff.
And she told him.
Okay, does this guy have hypnotized or something? That was way too easy.
I know, right? Oh boy.
Wait. We're our best?
So there you go. Now he's gonna release the symbiote on her.
How does he even get those symbiotes back into their capsules?
Wow, I didn't know that kind of
Hey, you know what, Jova? Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
But seriously, though, let's just say what happens to her character is such a missed opportunity, but I'll get to that later.
Yeah, that is true. I agree with Joe, but I think they got rid of the scientist character too quickly. You could have her play a somewhat bigger role.
Or hell, turn her into Scream or whatnot. Scream, for those who don't know, is essentially another symbiote bonded character who was eventually birthed out
Okay,
of
here we
one
go.
of them. Okay, you know what? If they had marketed this as like a parody or comedy, maybe might have worked out better. Oh.
Whack.
Bonk. It's like a cat's cradle of slime and ooze.
Ugh, I didn't know I could do that stuff. Ah!
This is gonna hurt.
This is a pretty cool parasite, all things considered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I mean, to be fair, isn't it true that the symbiote learns stuff from its host?
Yeah, it does.
This is part of the problem, though.
That's one of the main
Originally,
reasons. That's actually another thing. Remember how I said that Venom's backstory is supposed to be tied to Spider-Man? That tends to that when the symbiote is with Peter, it learns how to create webs as well. So later, when Eddie Brock becomes Venom, Venom is able to use Spider-Man style webs because the symbiote learned.
Yeah.
Like right
Yeah,
there.
by the way, use the window.
Ye- But yeah, unfortunately here it's never explained where the symbiote get that. We have no implications that, you know, he supposedly had some secret fighting skill or whatnot, so I guess the symbiote is just that awesome and could have literally done it with any host. Oh no, he apparently achieved symbiosis! Now for those who aren't familiar with Venom, you're probably wondering what the hell does that mean?
Well, Joe, why don't you explain for the audience then?
Alright, basically, audience, for those who attain symbiosis, that means that the symbiote is in absolute sync with its host here and there. And when the host is in sync with the symbiote, that's when pretty amazing stuff can be done. Eddie Brock is arguably the most powerful example of it, but yeah.
Okay, I will say that, well, actually, I'll mention it when it becomes more on screen properly.
That's a drone. That shoots rockets, apparently. I'm sorry. No.
That is one badass drone.
Well,
And now
okay.
it's time for a motorcycle action sequence.
Actually, the drone didn't shoot out a rocket. It literally just kamikazed itself into that building. But yeah, it's still pretty awesome.
I love how he, throughout the entire thing, he remains completely and absolutely calm.
All things considered, yeah.
Who, Eddie or
The villain. The typical British gentleman, always trying to look.
again, the character is
dignified.
British.
But the actor
But
is.
that was what I said. Yeah.
That's the joke.
Don't you just love when all this stuff never makes the news whatsoever? Like, you're not being very conspicuous when you have literal drones.
Oh, please, Jova.
I mean, I know it's
this kind of shit is just this kind of shit just New York every day and every night.
But
But we're in San Francisco.
This isn't New York, though.
Oh yeah, it's
okay.
San Francisco. You're right.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
that's
know.
another thing.
I know
Eddie
it's
Brock should be
because-
living in New York, not San Francisco.
Apparently, they said earlier he moved there.
I know. It's just that. Okay, fine.
Okay, I get it. Okay, I get it's in the middle of night, but I don't think San Francisco is one of those cities that goes to sleep just because it's dark.
No, we're literally seeing a lot of people notice this as well. But yeah, okay. part of the reason that I'm guessing that they moved this to San Francisco was so that they wouldn't have to deal with the the obvious elephant in the room of, hey, wouldn't Spider-Man be in New York?
Well, that and New York is very costly to film, so...
Well, I mean, in that case, just, film in a different city and try and call it New York while having enough iconic scenes.
Well, honestly, that trope is really easy to fuck up if you're not careful.
Oh, it is, but it's also possible to do if you are careful enough.
The way he said that line. Oh God, do something!
Okay, that was literally a Looney Tunes gag right there. But okay.
Basically, yeah.
Again, this movie is just high octane and silly. Like, honestly,
it's like a Fast and Furious movie.
Kinda. What?
Whee!
Okay, how fast was that motorcycle going?
Physics? What the fuck are those?
Wait, you're expecting physics in a
Look at
movie where a giant ball of slime fuses with a fired investigative journalist.
Dwibs, superhero universes still have general basic rules of physics.
True, yeah.
Oh, and hey, at least
they're not fucking cow and chicken or from Jim. Come on.
see there you go, guys. Unlike in Spider-Man 3, Venom actually refers to himself as as us or we, and so on.
Yeah, that's from the comics. So to be fair, that's just how it is.
Whoop. Pardon me.
I love that. He just calmly shoves the car to the side.
I mean,
Again, like I said, this is the best Parasite ever.
Yeah.
Very helpful. Maybe he's not so bad. We'll keep
this
him.
Parasite can help you with your shopping. Yeah, the symbiote's like, seriously, chill out. There we go.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look where you're going, you dipshit.
All right, and this is where we finally see Venom in full costume.
Telling me.
It's so nice that he can snark even though his bones are literally broken right there and then.
Oh, remember, the symbiote has healing abilities.
He's got the symbiote.
Oh, I know. But even before his bones healed...
Oh, there you go. All right.
Okay,
I'm going to
he
at the very
does
least give
look
the
pretty
movie
awesome.
credit props. This movie actually does get Venom's design right. This is exactly how Venom should look like in a live-action movie. Exactly.
In Spider-Man 3... So go on.
See, like, even the tongue looks exactly how it should. See?
Okay, in Spider-Man 3, Venom when he's fused to Eddie, Venom doesn't really look... Venom's outfit in Spider-Man 3 just kind of looks like, Dark Spider-Man when it's fused to Eddie. It's just molded to his shape, and that's it. Here, Venom is bigger.
Well, that's kind of how it is supposed to be. If you check the comics, and or even watch the animated '90s series, because the artwork for that series was very faithful to the comics. Like Venom is supposed to be this big hulking figure, So it makes sense that. There you go. See, there you go.
Aww. So that's where the Venom name comes from in this one. It was literally the symbiote's name from the get-go. Whereas in the comics, the reason he called himself Venom was because he was poisoned to Spider-Man, essentially. At least as far as the animated series established it.
So right.
How? Okay, yeah, but how did you know his name before
He's
you
inside
bonded?
your head.
Yeah, but like Jova pointed out, yeah, that was a plot hole where the symbiote for some reason knew his name before, though. So, so clearly someone screwed up.
The editor, maybe.
Well, that sounds like a good deal, don't you think, guys?
I think Nathan Drake put it best. Oh, so those are my options: die now or help you and die later. That's a good choice, but you know what? I'll take die now.
Okay,
Which is
so
also from Sony, funnily enough. And also, interesting thing, the Uncharted movie is actually going to be directed by the guy who directed this film.
so get this, Shiroi and Dwibs. Now the symbiote has infiltrated the little girl.
Well, the evil symbiotes.
Infiltrate the little girl? Come on,
So,
Jova.
so, guys, can you imagine a Ruben Fleischer directed Uncharted movie? Because
Dibs,
that's what we're getting.
Dibs, that's the thing. I'll only believe he's the one directing it when it actually starts.
Oh, yeah, because that film has a
Sure,
history
yeah.
of jumping around with directors.
Do you know by this point, Dibs, how many quote-unquote directors have Sony come? Okay, this is the director we're sticking with. We swear.
Okay,
It's like, seriously, it's like, I wouldn't have been surprised if at some week Jova was offered the director's
Oh,
chair.
by the way, guys, there you go.
I only believe that movie is actually coming out when a trailer shows up. I'm not even kidding. I'm still doing that
Well,
movie will actually ever come out.
Well, Tom Holland did post on his Instagram the first day of shooting.
By the way, there you go, guys. The Dr. Doris Girth, she's dead. Killed off screen.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Sorry, guys,
Dibs.
that scene got cut.
Again, why not make her into one of the symbiote-laden villains? So maybe make her into a tragic villain. She was trying to do what's right, but she gets corrupted by one of the symbiotes into being
Okay.
a mindless monster. But nope,
I can
just killed her.
understand. I can understand making a PG-13 cut for theaters, but couldn't you just release the original director's intended vision on
Oh.
Blu-ray?
Oh, apparently Uncharted has been produced by Avi Arad as well, and
Of
Oh
course.
no!
Why am I not
Oh, I'm so sorry,
surprised?
Pedro.
Why? Well, wait. Well, be sorry for you since you're an Uncharted fan too. So,
See, I've resigned myself to believing that outside of a very, 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 very specific few, video game movies are doomed to be shit.
well, I know
But-
that. I'm just
Sonic
saying
wasn't.
So I'm already expecting it to be disappointing, so it can't possibly hurt me.
Oh,
See?
okay,
That's
okay,
how that
sure.
works. It can't hurt me.
I mean, it's just the very mention of Avi Arad more often than not signals
well,
trouble.
Avi Arad did produce Into the Spider-Verse as well.
That said, though, Dwibs, Into the Spider-Verse was one of the cases where, the main guys
Dwibs.
on the film were given complete control of it, so Avi Arad couldn't muck things up.
Not to mention Dwibs. It's Phil Lord and
Chris
the
Miller.
other writer from the Little Prince. What was his name?
Peter Bichetti.
Yeah, it was Phil Lord. Basically, for those who don't know, Into the Spider-Verse was co-written by Phil Lord of Lego Movie fame and the writer that was just mentioned from Little Prince fame. That's why it's so good.
Bob Percietti, yeah.
As for Avi Arad, Dwibs, even if you want to make an argument that maybe Avi Arad also participated in that movie being good, here's the thing. If you keep throwing shit at the wall for years, eventually one of the turds will stick. I mean...
Okay, that's the thing. Avi Arad can occasionally get us good stuff, but he has consistently, and I do mean consistently, been involved with embarrassments and failures in the film industry. He is the reason that the Raimi Spider-Man series went kaput because he messed with Spider-Man
Yeah,
3.
you should be dead by now, Eddie.
Wow, that parasite really is amazing. I'm sorry, that symbiote really is amazing. It hates being called parasite. So basically, Eddie Brock's plan is to
What's wrong with
essentially...
the door?
Oh, this one.
Aw, he's starting to like him, even though
Yeah,
they
and he-
barely have known each other.
Yeah, exactly. See, once again, the plot is
Do
rushed
the
as
right
fuck.
thing, shithead.
Again, the plot is so rushed because the symbiont just immediately starts liking Eddie Brock, and later we're even gonna have after being with you, I've come to realize how valuable human life is and all that cliche shit. And the movie doesn't even bother to build up to any because, again, all of the supposed build-up has been cut out of this bloody thing.
Well,
Like I said, couldn't we at the very least have a director's cut on Blu-ray?
Part of me wonders if part of the reason a lot of that screen time was cut out was, I guess, because it may have been tied to the more violent scenes.
Weren't the actors themselves disappointed though? Because there was even some comedy scenes that were cut that they liked.
Oh yeah, there's a thing. According to Tom Hardy, most of the stuff that he loved the most, what he shot, was in those 40 minutes of deleted footage.
Yeah, I did see the taxi scene that happened. Yeah, that was pretty good.
So yeah, it's I would love to see the director's cut of this movie just to see how the movie was before the producers destroyed it.
I mean, honestly, this may be one of those cases where demanding for the extended cut might actually get us a much better movie because, okay, for as much as I don't like how this movie does end up portraying Venom, if those 40 minutes did have something that would have justified it better, this could have maybe been a legit good movie because for as wacky and comedic as it's been, I don't naturally have a problem with those scenes because they are actually well shot. The action is pretty creative, all things considered. And as we mentioned, Venom does look pretty good, yeah.
Like I said. Yeah, Venom looks great. This is exactly how I want Venom to look like in a live-action movie.
Like, seriously, this movie is frustrating because, you know, despite all the good things they did, this movie found a way to somehow muck things up. Like,
now, the only thing missing is the Venom like Spider-Man symbol on his chest, but that's because he's no longer tied to Spider-Man in his origin story. That's why they had to remove that symbol. It wouldn't make sense to have it there. But outside of that, yeah, he looks exactly like he should.
Pretty much, yeah. Again, like I said, this is one of the most frustrating examples. It's like I said, it's an example where if it weren't for, say, these few things or whatnot, this movie could have actually been legit dead on pretty good. Like we said, though, there's still problems, like the story, the pacing.
Oh no! There still would have been problems, but it's just that like I would have liked to at the very least seen what this movie was before the producers mangled it in post production.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love that little moral story. We do not eat policemen.
Wait, Annie, let me explain. See, my parasite has gotten worse.
You think?
You go to the hospital right now, young man.
Yes, Miss Williams.
The symbiote likes her.
Oh, and there you go. Venom likes her.
How cute, I guess.
There's only one problem with this scene. Eddie and Annie didn't really get much time to focus on their relationship when you get down to it. Like, we saw,
again, deleted footage.
It really does feel like it. Oh yeah, that's right. Fire's also a weakness of symbiotes.
So what are you going to do then if you can't do an MRI?
We'll improvise.
I mean, I'm actually much more curious. Unlike when I first watched Batman v Superman on theaters, I wasn't even the slight curious as to the Ultimate Edition with the extra 30 minutes of footage and lo and behold, as we've talked about in the commentary, those 30 minutes helped little to nothing in fixing the movie's problems.
They gave us some extra context to stuff, but yeah, it did not by any means save the movie. Whereas, yeah, with this movie, those 40 minutes might... to describe this movie is it feels like a puzzle set that is literally missing essential pieces that help complete it.
Okay, do we need to commentate on this movie? Venom's doing a pretty good job of that for us.
I know, right? Imagine Venom getting his own commentary channel.
You know, I'm surprised the Deadpool movies didn't do. I didn't have an audio commentary feature with Deadpool.
Hey, and you notice that drone that's suspiciously tailing behind our vehicle?
Mind, in those he's commentating on the movie in the movie. So
Whose life should I ruin today?
How about that little girl over there, who somehow got in past security?
What is up with horror movies and creepy little girls?
I don't. Any idea, Shiroi?
Yeah, you have much more experience with horror than me. Like, oh, no, cheeseburger.
not just bird. I can answer the question.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The director saw The Shining once.
Well, that's the thing. That it's way before The Shining. They were already doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the most famous example.
True, but I still would like to know what's the logic behind it.
Uh-oh, no, he doesn't like being called a parasite. Oh boy.
I guess you had to think fast.
There you go. It's out.
Yep. We were supposed to be a team, man. Tom Hardy, ladies and gentlemen, having an argument with a pile of goo and telling it that it's done. Yes, we are. Also, it looks like the movie's going to eventually drop you out of nowhere, so is there really much point in me telling you about it? Whoops.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Ah.
Well, now what?
We could shut off all the vents, I guess.
Oh, I guess the Shimshire isn't here for this bit. And now
Wait, I
it's time
forgot.
for the symbiote to possess a doggo.
Venom doggy.
Yes.
Wow. Don't.
You have the worst luck running into people you don't want to run into, man.
I know, right? Huh. I wonder. Wow. Let me explain how evil I am. Please, that is very inconsiderate for you to be bleeding over the lab. Go over and bleed over there when you come
How
down.
rude of you, sir.
I'm not insane. Everyone else is. What?
And look at it this way, Mr. Brock. Just to prove to you that I am not insane, I'm going to kill everybody who says I am insane.
Where did any of this come from, you're probably wondering? And you're thinking maybe this has to do with the symbiote taking over his mind? No, apparently the guy believes in this stuff. Maybe the symbiote really made a very good pitch to him. Is that him describing the symbiote or him describing the development of this movie? Okay, so that is Riot, one of the other symbiotes. Now here's the thing, in the comics, Riot was green, something to sort of diversify and, differentiate himself from other symbiotes. Here,
It just looks gray.
Yeah.
Why can't you just make it green? You had a yellow symbiont earlier. Couldn't you just use the yellow color if you didn't want to use green?
Yeah, and it seemed like they were going to hint at that yellow symbiote being Scream, but no, they didn't.
Of all colors, why gray? That makes it really hard to distinguish between each other in the action scenes.
Yeah.
Did Fleischer got some tips from the Bayformers movies? Let's make them all the same color.
Actually, that's the thing, Pedro. By the time of this movie, the Bayformers movies had moved away from that, like you mentioned with Age of Extinction.
Was Age of Extinction? When did Age of Extinction come out again?
2014.
Yeah, 2014.
Okay, so this was like 4 years later then.
Yeah. Did your mama not love you?
Yo, Bob.
This is going to remind me of a scene from season 3 of Person of Interest, except that was much better.
Oh boy, here we go. Whoop.
There you go.
Karma.
Venom possessed his
And-
girlfriend.
And there
So
you go.
Lady Venom.
Huh.
Venom with boobs. Oh, complete with a kiss and everything. So here's
And
the
that was why the movie was called the best romantic comedy of 2018.
And I guess they're in love again, because from now on the movie will suggest that they're a couple again now. Is that why you named him Riot? So, regarding the Lady Venom thing here, in the comics, She-Venom was created when Eddie Brock lent the symbiote to his, at the time, ex-wife, who had divorced him because of the thing that
And
he had
that
been
was our
revealed.
bullshit bomb for the... Did they already spend their one F-bomb in this movie?
I don't think they said the F word. They have said the S word, though, before.
So this movie... okay, the PG-13 movies are allowed to say fuck once.
When it comes
Before
to the...
they-
Yeah.
You'd think this movie, of all movies, would actually take that opportunity.
Oh, sure, you
missed
You missed some great stuff. First,
Oh.
Venom possessed a little doggy.
Oh,
And
how
that-
did that go?
It actually was pretty fine. Like, it was just an eye thing. It didn't really have the
okay.
dog.
And then you
didn't
missed
see- you didn't
Venom
see
with
bits of goo coming
boobs.
out of the dog, if that's what you're asking.
Eventually,
and-
you missed Venom with boobs.
Yeah, Venom possessed the girlfriend in order to be able to get to Eddie Brock again.
And she bit a guy's head off.
Yeah.
Mind you, the main mercenary's head off.
And guess what, Shiroi? Now Venom has decided that he's the only one to come back to his planet because he's fallen in love with the planet Earth and he loves Eddie Brock now. Because
I like the
And apparently
humans
on his
now.
home planet, he's considered a loser.
I mean, come on, you see, Eddie.
Wait,
This
don't
was
you see?
in the
Eddie did
So this
it.
is an underdog parallel between our protagonist and antagonist?
That's the thing. That's the thing, Shiroi. It's more like both of them are underdogs.
Anti-hero. Yeah.
That both of them are underdogs, so they're teaming up. You see, allow me. You see, Eddie, what happened is in the original script we explained this better with some build-up and stuff like that. But unfortunately, somebody in the production thought it was a good idea to delete that part.
Oh, meanwhile, Shiroi, get this. Our main big bad was infiltrated by the
Another
symbiote
one
from
of the
earlier,
symbiotes.
yeah. This one's called Riot. Well, the problem is that, unlike in the comics where Riot was green, here he's just gray, which means, unless you pay good attention, you might get him mixed up with Venom during the final battle scene.
Not even just that. Like again, okay, maybe you can argue. Maybe they didn't want to make him green because big green thing is usually associated with the Hulk. Okay, fine. Use
Isn't
the
he
yellow
usually purple anyway? I'm not really sure.
What,
So,
Riot?
Wait,
No,
who are you talking? Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about the villain
symbiote that
Riot.
we're watching
Oh,
right
okay. No, never mind then. Never mind.
Riot is usually green, Shiroi. But here's the thing. Okay,
I thought you were talking about Venom still.
No,
Venom,
no.
Venom is supposed to be black. Henceforth, Jova, don't the comics even sometimes call it the
I'm
black
used
suit?
I'm used to seeing him either very dark purple or very dark blue.
Oh, okay.
Remind me, Joe, but aren't there actual moments in the comics? I know it's in the animated
Okay,
series.
this is when I noticed that I was like, wait, we're at this point already?
Yeah, I know, right?
Deleted footage. Joe, but remind me again, aren't there bits in the comics where they flat out call it the black suit at certain points? Yeah, so basically, black is supposed to be the iconic color of Venom. So it's
that
supposed to be black.
that said, Shiroi does have a point. Some of the comics, for an odd reason, colored Venom is like this very, 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 very dark shade of purple. And in the Ultimate series, that's kind of what it is, weirdly enough.
I prefer him in with the color black, to be honest.
Oh, so you like Lego Batman?
Well, sure, I guess. Yeah.
You only work in
obviously,
black, or very, 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 very dark gray.
Yeah. And it's just that, I think this is the best, this is the iconic look that I'm used to. So, I prefer him this way, to be honest.
So I guess the reason that he's kind of one-upping Venom is because, I guess, Riot is team leader, because otherwise I don't see...
They established earlier, Jova, that in his planet, Venom is also considered a loser, a grunt, whereas Riot is supposed to be one of the elite soldiers of sorts.
Uh-huh. Anyway, a bit of context as to the thing with She-Venom earlier when Anne was possessed by the symbiote. In the comics, She-Venom was actually a pretty tragic figure because, well, okay, she was Eddie Brock's ex-wife. So Eddie lends her the symbiote because of certain things going on in the comic. The experience, while it did somewhat bring her back closer to Eddie, unfortunately drove her insane to the point where Eddie Brock's wife committed suicide. In here, it's just for something that people can jack off to, I guess, without any of the tragedy behind it.
I actually will admit,
I can barely tell who's who here.
Yeah,
True.
I know.
But again, if they had colored Riot yellow, this wouldn't be a problem now, would it? But anyway, they could have okay, like I said before, I was trying to say it earlier. Okay, maybe you can make an argument that they don't want to color Riot green like in the comics because maybe they would look a bit too much like the Hulk. Okay, fine. You showed a yellow symbionte at the beginning of the movie. Use the color yellow then. There you go. Problem solved. It's like,
oh, great job, man.
That being said, though, I did like that final fight bit visually, like where we're literally seeing both the humans fight each other while the symbiont aspects above them fighting on their own. That was a pretty cool visual thing that feels very comic book-esque in nature. So that's actually pretty cool.
And now we're seeing them literally fight each other hand to hand, which, yeah, of course Eddie Brock would wipe the floor with this guy. No, you are just insane. Thank you. But yeah, seriously though, where did this whole insanity for that guy even come from? Oh.
Oh no! Yeah, sure. I'm sure that Eddie Brock is going to die in his first movie.
Oh,
literally.
His ring! How symbolic!
I'm sure that Aviarad is going to allow for Venom to be killed in this movie. Clearly, yeah, sure.
Totally. Oh, the symbiote is still there.
And he's gonna save him. There you go.
I just felt like screaming there for a bit.
Shouldn't the symbiote have problems with the incredible noise that this is literally the scenario from the comics where whatever.
Not only that, but the fire too.
Basically, Shiroi, in the comics, the way Peter finally gets rid of Venom is by separating Eddie from the symbiote and attaching the symbiote to a rocket and allowing the rocket to take the symbiote back into space. So the noise of that rocket should have made Venom go ape crap, but I guess not.
I guess the writers kind of forgot.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Eddie. The symbiote is so going to die now. Isn't this sad?
Oh yeah, clearly.
But hey, it's okay because we formed a parachute for him before he hit the water. Let's just pray that he's not unconscious, otherwise he'll drown. Nope, he's okay. So the day is saved, I guess? Anyone want to go home, get a burrito?
No. Yes, the day is saved, with no thanks to the pop-off girls, since they're not. Since this is not the city of Townsville, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of destruction and all that. Okay, fade to black.
There you go. See, again, the whole movie feels rushed as well because of the deleted footage.
So now apparently they're a couple again. Again, the boy Anne's boyfriend never gets mentioned again, so I guess these two are...
Hey, Shiroi.
Mm-hmm.
Question. This is a movie based on a Marvel property, so don't you think there's something missing? Let's think about it.
Oh.
What is missing here?
Maybe a cameo?
But of who, I wonder?
I don't know.
Oh, basically, let's just say stick around for the post-credits.
That too, but...
Oh, really?
No. The cameo is still in the proper movie. It's just that...
I'm pretty sure
there is an after credit scene that basically teases that... No, it's right now, Jova. Eddie's about to get up and go up the road, and then he meets him. So I do remember that, at least.
Forget. Does he ever mention if he got his job back or anything?
That's the thing, Jova. Apparently, we're supposed to assume that he's going to become kind of an superhero of sorts, maybe.
Yeah, but he still needs to pay the bills.
Maybe he scares off the taxpayers, the people who force him to pay the bills. I don't know.
He scares the IRS with.
Yeah.
Aw, Venom's a shipper, Shiroi.
Aww. He's not so bad.
I love how they pretty much immediately reveal in the next scene that, yeah, Venom was alive. Just yanked your chain.
Don't ask how the hell he survived that crap. He just did, okay? Just roll with it.
He's fine. Don't worry. There's
Oh,
gonna
hey,
be a better
understand.
team after all. Oh.
No, don't eat the dog.
Love how he asked, who is that guy?
Alright, let's set up some rules.
Okay, I'll admit that Stanley cameo was neat. Then yeah, Shiroi, that was pretty much the cameo Pedro was mentioning earlier.
Well, yeah, Shiroi already... I could tell Shiroi was knowing exactly what I was meaning, so... Yeah, you're only allowed to eat bad people, okay, Venom? Okay.
I can't remember what it is, but there's a series on Netflix.
Oh, that's another difference.
His liver.
Oh, hey, this scene again.
All right, here you go. Check this out. Now there you go. Now we're
Oh,
back at this,
no, I
store.
almost forgot this scene.
Oh, come on, Jova. This is by far the most memeable scene in the movie.
Pretty much.
All right, and look at that. The robber from the beginning of the movie is back. Well, actually, no, it's a different robber, actually.
No.
There you
No,
go. That guy, right.
No. Actually, Pedro, you're right. It is the same bad guy from before.
Oh, here you go. Here you go.
Oh, God, here we go. Please take that seriously.
We are Venom.
You know, that scene would have been awesome if it weren't for the whole turd in the wind bit.
You know what? Never mind. I'm still gonna eat you still.
I guess he doesn't even bother with the whole secret identity
It's just a
thing.
growth. It's fine.
No. He said, I have a parasite. See, sure, that's the running gag. I have a parasite.
See, he's embracing it now.
Apologize! I demand it! Oh, God, these two could make a sitcom.
It's Eddie and Venom, friends forever.
Yeah, we need like a mini comedy series.
That's it,
Oh,
though,
now we
folks.
get an Eminem song.
And now, yeah, of all people to get to do the song, and the song is literally called Venom, so it's an original song by Eminem, of all people.
Like I said, this is
I mean,
one
I
of the
like
most.
Eminem, don't get me wrong, it's just that
This is one of the
choice.
This is one of the most 90s picks ever. Of course, we gotta have Eminem in it, Pedro.
I guess
Yeah,
it's just that when
It's
I
the
think
most
of
90s film to have ever.
Wait,
2018.
it just ends like that?
that's
So-
the thing. Yeah, it does. Well, the thing
Huh.
is, but when I think a Venom theme song, I think more raw, at the very least grunge maybe. But Eminem's hip hop, not really.
I can kind of see it because Eminem is one of the big definers of the 90s, and the song. Okay, the song is cheesy as all fudge, yes, but in a.
Well, if it's the movie.
Yeah,
So.
exactly.
All right, so that was
Ah.
Venom.
That's it, though, folks. Don't click off the movie yet because.
We've got mid and post credit scenes.
All right.
Of course. That said, though, what a movie. What a.
This is one of
movie.
the best bad movies I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it's in terms of like filmmaking, it's not like it's badly filmed or anything. I mean, it's perfectly well shot and all. It's just
it's
everything else.
It's the writing that's the problem.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and also with Tom Hardy basically cracking on set.
I know, right? Again, mind you, this was a movie so bad that Tom Hardy badmouthed it before the movie even came out. Yet he and everyone
Well,
they'll
I
be
mean,
coming back for the
hang on,
sequel.
that's the thing. When Josh Trank did that, he got flamed by everybody. How come Tom Hardy escaped it?
I think it's because everyone was expecting this movie to be utterly crap.
Well, maybe I guess Tom Hardy is it was the director that said that the last
Not
time.
only that, Josh Trank is a
Alright.
pretty terrible person. Okay, so guys, going to the school of putting our eggs in one basket and counting our chickens before they hatch, let's put in a blatant
Well,
sequel
they must
hook.
have been very good chickens then, Jova.
They were, again. Nobody was expecting this, but looks like we will be getting the fruition to this, unlike Amazing Spider-Man 2.
And
That's
also,
fair.
we're gonna see a nominee for worst wig.
Even worse than the
Pretty
wig in
bad
Fan...
wigs. Let's see.
Even worse than the wig
Yeah,
in
the
Fan
wi-
4 stick.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson's wig
Yes,
in
Jova?
this scene is. Ugh.
Yes, Jova?
Even worse than the wig in Fan 4 stick?
I'd argue so. I guess. I mean, granted, you don't see it as much here, but
Yeah, we talked about how Riot was the green symbionte. Well, You might know another famous, iconic character related to symbionte that's colored red.
Oh, look at that. He literally
Welcome,
wrote Welcome Eddie in his own blood. Hi, Cletus Cassidy.
Yes,
Yeah, that
Woody
is
Harrelson
totally,
in a $10 wig.
yeah, that is totally your hair. I totally believe
Seriously,
that.
I have better cosplay wigs. I'm sorry.
did you get that wig at like Party City or something? Oh God.
Okay. I think Woody Harrelson has it in to be a good Carnage.
That's
No,
that wig
that-
is
no,
not helping.
definitely.
Just get rid of that silly wig.
Well, that's the thing, that the character is supposed to have that kind of hair and red hair. So
Yeah, no, the problem's not him having red hair. It's the wig.
It's just that
Mhm.
that wig. It
yeah,
speaks
maybe they'll
volumes.
get a better wig for the sequel.
Oh, there's gonna be carnage.
Get it?
Well, I mean, how
Yeah,
the next movie is called Venom. Let there be carnage.
Yeah, basically Carnage is going to basically, to put it in simple terms for those who don't know, Carnage is supposed to be kind of Venom's kind of sorta but not really son. It's
Yeah.
it's complicated, let's just say.
I
Oh,
would
yeah.
talk about it, but I guess we could maybe save the Carnage bio for the actual sequel.
Yeah, we'll talk about Carnage when we get to that.
Also, I'm interested in seeing how Andy Serkis is going to handle a film like that.
So, Shiroi, why don't you go first with final thoughts since we got a bit of time before the post-credits scene?
Sure. I'm not gonna say much anyway. I enjoyed this. It was cheesy and ridiculous, and again, not exactly, helping the stigma for this character in terms of live action adaptation from what Pedro was saying. But as somebody with no attachment, this was perfectly enjoyable. It again wasn't good. Had fun.
Pretty
I do
much.
feel bad for the fans, though. I actually do. I understand, and your criticism is valid. I'm not sure what I'd want the sequel to do. Like, if I'd want it to be just as ridiculous, or if I'd want them to actually try with the characters. Because
Oh, there you go, Pedro.
I don't know, but
Created by Todd McFarlane and David Michelin, so I guess they decided to split the credit on that.
we'll see for that. It could go either way.
Yeah.
They'll probably try to make it like this movie. Most likely.
I do
But,
hope that
yeah.
they do better.
What was that, Jova?
I was just saying, I do hope that they do better.
The characters are at least fun in how they interact with each other. Like,
True.
it's a shame we didn't. It's a shame we didn't get more of the cut interactions. But I still like this, and not having a lot of context for our protagonist situation at the beginning wasn't great. But I mean, it was the only really bad thing for me in terms of how the story was told. Yeah, this was a perfectly enjoyable movie. Again, though, it feels bad for the fans, but I have no attachment. But who's next?
Dwibs?
Can I go next?
Go on.
Yeah. I do have a slight more attachment to Shiroi, but only slight. I've only ever seen Venom in like one TV show and a video game. The 2001, in case you're wondering.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't exactly have a whole lot of much more attachment to anything here myself. So I think I can say confidently that despite this movie's many issues, as in the rushed plot, stuff that's clearly been cut out, and Tom Hardy acting, well, crazy half the time, although that in and of itself contributes to what I think of the movie overall. I really enjoyed this flick. It's not something I think should be replicated for the next movie. Okay, because A, if you're trying to replicate something like this, it's not going to be as fun. And
Yeah,
B, I'm pretty sure audiences might have twigged on to quality regards to this little mini series.
Yep.
But yeah, overall, I enjoyed this movie a lot. It's crazy, it's mental, and it gives absolutely no shits about anything. and I kind of respect it for that, even if it's still not a very good movie. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. As for me, okay. To get the fan aspect out of the way, like Shira was saying, I'm gonna sum up. I'm gonna sum up the fans' thoughts on Javier Rod at this point with this reference. Javier Rod, you can't escape me. I'll chase you to the ends of the earth. There you go.
The good old animated series.
So that was it. That part taken care of. Yeah. This movie is such a schlocky mess, but it's just so wonderful to watch as well because first of all, Tom Hardy's performance, I have no idea what the fuck the director told Tom Hardy, because how do you even get a performance out of an actor like
Okay,
this?
Tom, I want you to act like you are on crack cocaine, alcohol, and paprika all at once, and act like all the symptoms are going in and out. And then I also want you to act like you have multiple personality disorder of the most kooky and crazy kind. And then I need you to act happy-go-lucky, immediately spiraling into depressed, immediately to flat-out insane. All in that, wrapped in one package.
But Joe, remember, he and the director were constant heads.
Maybe.
But anyway.
Hey. In that case, maybe his acting out was his way of rebelling against the director then.
I'm just imagining what if Van these kiss.
I wonder.
All the best.
I wonder, what if he did like, okay, hey Pedro, it's like you said, what if Tom Hardy went, okay guys, I've had it up here with the director, so I'm just gonna see how much I can get away with this crap before he eventually puts his foot down.
Yeah, basically. All the best to it, though, because it makes the movie absolutely delightful to watch.
Yeah.
I still really want to see a director's cut of this thing, though, because I'm actually genuinely curious to see how the original intent was, because this movie was clearly destroyed in the post-production process.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because there's so much, it's so blatant. Even if we haven't seen those scenes, you can tell when there's a scene missing in this movie. It's so blatant that there are scenes missing here. So yeah, I actually want to see that.
You know what this means, guys?
Sony,
we have to demand
yes,
for
hashtag release the Fleischer cut.
Yes.
Yeah, although I don't think that movement has gathered that much steam.
Admittedly, part of the reason is because, well, this movie, again, nobody really had high hopes for this movie in general.
Yeah.
Unlike, say, the Justice League movie. Like, this movie, yeah, and you know what's a shame is, like, well, this movie could have maybe really benefited from that cut. Okay, who knows? Maybe if, like, the sequel turns out to be legit good, then we'll get more people asking for it. But I guess as it is now, people are just content to watch this movie and laugh at it as a so bad it's good kind of movie.
It's that's the thing though. Like personally, I would be more interested in watching a Fleischer cut of this than the Snyder cut of Justice League. I know that the internet is gonna cancel me if I say this on the air, but I don't care. The point is, yeah, Venom is a schlocky 90s style comic book movie. If you're into that sort of crap, have fun. However, if you're a Venom fan like me and Jova and you want to see the character done justice, move on. Nothing to see here.
Pretty much.
Well, except Venom referring to himself.
And the design, to be fair, yeah, I will give
and
it
when
there,
he
yeah.
does, and when he eats people's heads.
Although it's
That's fun.
PG-13. Although it's PG-13.
So we have
People
to basically have it so that there's no blood and gore whatsoever, and that sometimes he does it with a discretionary shot. Then there was that one time he says we are Venom, but it was ruined by the whole turd in the wind spiel.
Yeah.
Everything is just goop now.
But anyway, yeah. Venom is it's a lot of fun to watch if you're in the right mindset, especially if you're drunk. So have at it. Joe, what closes out?
Folks, like I said, this movie is frustrating. It's one that walks the fine line between good and bad, but unfortunately teeters off the balancing beam and falls into the realm of bad, unfortunately. Because, yeah, there's a lot of good qualities to this movie, but they're overcome by the bad qualities here. The story is all over the place, the pacing is a mess, the acting is... Well, the acting doesn't seem to fit with certain moods of scenes at some point. Don't get me wrong, Tom Hardy's acting in this movie is gloriously off-key, but that's just what it is. A lot of times it does come off as off-key, without any sense and purpose half the time here and there. The relationship between him and his girlfriend Anne is weirdly developed, and I can't even tell if they're really supposedly getting back together or whatnot by the end. Especially since the whole thing with the boyfriend pretty much goes out of the window. Sure, he gets mentioned at the end, but it's more like about, are we going to tell Dan about this or whatnot? And I don't know. The She-Venom stuff was cool for the 1 minute that we saw it. Again, without any of the nuance that the thing from the comics had, so... yeah. It feels like a movie that wants to have its cake and eat it, without really putting that much the needed effort in to get people to take stuff seriously. So, lo and behold, we are left with an absolute embarrassment of a movie, but a very entertaining one nonetheless, I will admit. A lot of the action does work out pretty well here and there, and while the characters either act one note or incredibly stupid, at least it does give us some nice action scenes. Oh yeah, they've got music from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse in this movie.
I wonder why, though.
I do wonder. Meanwhile, in another universe...
Yeah. Welcome to our preview commentary of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I guess.
This is kind of awkward because we've already commentated... Well, okay, technically, we first commentated on Venom the first time, and then we would eventually commentate on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse for a Christmas commentary, but yes. Okay, basically, Shiroi, this was one of the main reasons people came to see this movie. It was the first time people got to see, in good length, a scene for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which a lot of people were looking forward to at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it like how Brave Fencer Musashi sold a lot because it had the demo disc for Final Fantasy VIII involved.
Which is interesting because the Platinum version of that game had the Final Fantasy VIII demo as well. So.
Nice.
Carry on.
But yeah, this scene is nice here and there. Doesn't this copy also include the scene with Eddie Brock dancing with you-know-who?
Spoilers for the audience, guys. The movie would be out for another 2 months.
Yeah. Oh, what is this? Hey, Pete.
Is that symbolism for something in the he just saw? Officers, I can explain. I just witnessed Venom, and I am really high right now.
Pretty much, yeah.
Also, yeah. Okay, I'll be honest. For a second, I thought this was just in. I thought this was just in cinemas. This scene comes up. I thought it was like in. I thought it was like in Amazing Spider-Man 2, where they only have the trailer for Days of Future Past in the theater cuts because Sony pulled Mark Webb from a Fox Searchlight movie to do that film. But no, it's part of the movie.
Yep. Again, it's a pretty extensive sneak peek at the movie overall. And you gotta love how they mask it by saying, oh, it's in another universe.
Well, yeah.
Oh! Good
But if you want
job.
to know, but if you want to know more about what we think of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, please watch our commentary.
Pretty much, yeah.
You know, I was tempted to like splice in. What if we just spliced in our commentary of this scene of Into the Spider-Verse when we got to that point into here?
To be continued.
Watch Into the Spider-Verse, please.
Oh, yeah, there's a bit more credits. Anyway, back to my final thoughts on the movie. Yeah, it's an incredibly insane ride. But that said, like we've mentioned before, if you were a big Venom fan at the time, chances are you probably would have been disappointed because the movie does not match up to the sum of its own parts. It has a lot of missing elements here. And while Venom here is entertaining, it doesn't feel like he's gone for the proper development at all, so it feels haphazard. Which, that's pretty much the best way to describe this movie. It's a haphazard experiment that, against all odds, ended up working. Which is part of why people don't want to see, this whole thing. People don't want to see them trying to replicate the wonder, quote-unquote, of this film because, well, that's just the thing. It would be like trying to have lightning strike again. It's like trying to replicate the success of The Room intentionally. Like, more often than not, that leads into disaster. Alas.
So that was Venom.
Ah, so this cut doesn't have a scene with Eddie Brock dancing with the symbiote in the shape of a woman.
Aw.
What a shame.
But anyway, that was Venom. We hope you enjoyed the movie as much as most of us did. And we'll see you in about 2 years from now, maybe. Or maybe over a year, I don't know.
I guess technically
Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
I guess
Yes.
technically before that we'll see you for the Morbius movie.
Ugh.
Yeah, I guess.
Hey! Best way to sum up that movie. What's up, Doc?
Alright, see ya.
See ya.
See ya.